Donald J. Trump, right after this. Former Clinton Communications Director Ann Lewis joins the varsity, along with California Republican Party Communications Director Karen Hanratty and USC Professor / not a Communications Director Todd Boyd. We'll go one-on-one with David Horowitz to find out what they're really teaching on college campuses. We'll take 5 with full-time actor and part-time Hellboy Ron Perlman. First up, though, he is the best-selling author of the new book, How to Get Rich, the most popular billionaire in America, the star, executive producer, and guiding light of The Apprentice. Please welcome Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen. I admire anybody who can engender that sort of goodwill, who is a billionaire and says they do not like to shake other human beings' hands.
Well,
there's something
point behind that.
No, I'm just saying.
I do appreciate it.
Now, you're in New York real estate. You make your living on seeing trends way down the road. Highly speculative. Could you even see this coming, though, this sort of fame from the show?
This one was a shocker. We thought it was a great show. Mark Burnett is a tremendous guy and a tremendous friend of mine. We really thought it was a good show, but there are a lot of good shows. In fact, I just said hello to Bob Klein, who had just left your show. Right. And I said, I really like your show. He said, we just got canceled, okay? And 95% of the shows that go on get canceled. Right. So I was told that just prior to us going on. And it opened, and it wasn't even a building thing, and it's even built in it up, but from the day it opened, it was a big smash. So we're really very proud of it. When
Burnett comes in, are you familiar with Survivor or anything he does, or are you a big TV watcher?
I'm a little bit familiar with Survivor. I wasn't that familiar with it. I knew Mark, and actually Mark was leasing the Wollman Rink from me. I have the Wollman Rink in Central Park, and he was leasing it for a final episode of Survivor, which was live. It was beautiful. They did this whole thing, this beautiful African set in the middle of Central Park. And he came over, I have an idea, I'd like to see you, and I really didn't know who he was at the time, and then I found out. And he really is a visionary. He's a great guy. But he came up to my office, gave me the concept of The Apprentice. We did it. All of the networks went crazy for it. We went with NBC, and they've been tremendous, by the way. They really have been tremendous. And it just became a big smash hit, and, it's been amazing.
I think part of your play that's so smart to me is you do things periodically like the Wollman Rink, and you don't name them. You do them for the people of New York,
that's right.
And that way they don't begrudge you, when the building goes up. It's sort of funny. And I've often wondered this. Every time I see you speak about your father, it's in such endearing terms. People always say you're arrogant for naming buildings after yourself, and I often think, isn't a small part of you naming those buildings after your father?
Well, maybe so. I had a wonderful father. He was a builder in Brooklyn and Queens, and he built middle-income, moderate-income housing, and he was just a great guy, and I learned a lot from him, and he was a sweetheart. So maybe that's a way of looking at it.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, the brusque thing, is how much of it is amped up, how much of it is actually you? When you walk through the casino, that's my favorite part, when you're walking through the casino, and it was almost like Caesar walking back from battle, and the people were coming up. How much is that a caricature, and how much of that is you?
It's, and a number of people ask, if that really is it. As an example, on the show, we do absolutely no retakes. If I blow a line, I blow a line. And there really are no lines per se. It's all reality. I mean, we don't have writers. We're not scripting it out. It's real stuff. And that's the way it is. I mean, I walk down the street. Now, this has really taken it a step beyond the show, the success of the show.
Is it helping business?
As you saw. Well, I don't know about helping business, but it sure doesn't hurt it. It's been amazing. I mean, everything I have is if you look at real estate in New York, I would say that does well. I don't know if somebody buys a $30 million apartment because of the fact that, I'm on The Apprentice. But The Apprentice has been really an amazing thing.
Well, I like the psychology. In a Walmart world, I like that you price things to not necessarily sell unless somebody really wants to buy. It's almost like Rubel and Schrager's approach to the velvet rope at 54. They knew if they made you wait outside in the sleets that you would be rabid to get in eventually. Is that some of the thinking behind your...
That was a very hot place, Studio 50. I'm glad somebody remembers. Most of these people don't remember.
Well, I was never there. That's why I remember.
But it was quite a place.
But I mean, there's sort of that approach that if you make it really pricey. Everybody wants a piece of it.
I don't think it's pricey. I think if you make it really good, the thing I do best is not promote, although this seems like a great promotion. The fact is I build the best buildings. I build the best buildings. I have the best locations in the city, and I do the best at it, and nobody is close. I'm the biggest developer in the city. Nobody's close, but I build the best product. And I like to think that's why they pay the price, because I have the best. I'm building a building now, 59th Street and Park Avenue. Now, there are other guys building buildings, but they're not on Park Avenue. They're not on 59th Street. They don't have the same kind of a location. And I'm doing great with it. And it's not so hard when you get the best locations and you do the best building.
Now, listen, I'm rabid. I watch the show every week, and I'm fascinated by it.
These are 4 of my most trusted advisors. Together, they have a combined service of over 75 years, and they've helped me create a multi-billion-dollar empire. Their recommendations will be critical to my final decision because ultimately, you'll be working with them. Have fun. Go ahead out.
What are you doing day one? Introduce myself and present a vision for the organization.
And you'll be able to do that on day one without even knowing the first thing about this entity?
You know, obviously you've been getting by on your instincts. Sure as hell not getting by on your education.
Whoa, my education, I'm proud of my education.
Would you have a problem hiring women yourself?
No, not at all.
I got my job to do. I got no time to teach you anything. Come on, learn by yourself.
With a family, mortgage, car loans, kids to raise.
Why should I do for him? Because they're going to say, hey, he's the new hotshot.
Do you consider yourself a loyal employee?
And how you are perceived by Donald Trump.
And everybody here is very stressed.
What do you think their perception is of why you're here? Because I'm sure as hell can't figure it out.
Thank you for your time.
And you're going to have 2 left on April the 15th, which coincidentally is tax day, which is amazing. And it wasn't done purposely. A lot of these things weren't done. Like the words "you're fired" were not a part of the deal. That came up during one of these episodes. I just said, the first episode, I said, David, you're fired. Because he did something that wasn't so smart, and I wanted to do it. And I wonder often how the show would have done if we didn't come up with those 2 little catchphrases.
I like the Kwame kid because you looked last week at the guy you had to let go. I forget his name. He had the weird
Troy.
doll head.
Troy.
But he was a great guy. I mean, he's everything you look for. But I remember thinking, wow, does this play in a cosmopolitan Manhattan situation where Trump's got to send this guy into a room? It's a little too hee-haw. That's the thing I dig about Kwame, is you look at Kwame, he's so smooth, so buttoned down, pulled together, and smart. But he looks like he could be a Trump emissary, a representative,
Well,
right?
he's a great guy, and he's a Harvard MBA, and he also, as you know, he was with Goldman Sachs, and he left Goldman Sachs to do this show. Now, there aren't a lot of people going to leave Goldman Sachs to do a show, but he left, and that's a big statement in itself. But
Does that hold
Kwame is
any
a
sway with you, or are you supposed to judge each episode by how they do on a task, or are things like that stuck in the back of your mind?
Everything. We're not computers. I think everything has sway. That means something to me, the fact that he, everything, including how he did on the first episode and the second episode. So it's not just how he did in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, and the show's fun. I mean, I love the show. There's one weird side to it to me, and she was fun in a way, this Omarosa woman. But I think we have to say something about this Erica, because she is now saddled out there with the term racist put on her. Obviously, I don't know exactly what happened. I cannot believe that you and Burnett would stand there and hear that epithet dropped on her.
And not put it on television.
Well, that, and also not, go publicly and say this is a
Well, no, we have.
and all that.
Mark has said, and I've said, that we don't believe it happened. And Eric is a fine person, and she wouldn't have said it. And we've said that. And we've said it strongly.
Listen, I had Omarosa on the show the other day, and I was scared. I was going to give her I was half tempted to give her a hard hat and a prenup before I did the interview. All right, man, good luck with it. We'll all be watching. Thank you, Donald. Up next, the editor of FrontPageMag.com, David Horowitz. Right after this, Mr. Trump.